Today I'm going to be talking about my learning metaphor. So I created a metaphor that represents what learning is like in the classroom. So here it goes. My learning metaphor is life learning is a buffet. Learning is like going through the line at a buffet. There are so many options to choose from. There are things you choose to pick up a little bit of and find out later you didn't like it too much. There are other things that you pick that you know you love and take lots of it. There are other things that you pick that you're not too sure about, but try anyway and end up loving it too. The people in the buffet line with you serve as an important piece of the metaphor too. There will be people trying to push you along, maybe just a little too quickly. These people may very well prevent you from picking up the things you really want, because they are constantly just shoving you along, being all pushy and such. Then there are the people that cut in front of you. They just jump right out of the line and squeeze right in front of you. These people are quite frustrating because you might have been just trying to get a hold of that spoon for the mac and cheese. Then there are the people who just seem to take forever deciding what they want on their plate. These people make you want to be like the first type of people I mentioned and intrude in their space to get them moving. But you must be patient. So you all might be wondering why I'm using a buffet as my metaphor for learning. I'll let you know that there is a method for my madness. So let's go back to the options that you can choose from on a buffet. The actual buffet itself is like the classroom. A small classroom is a small buffet, and a large classroom is a large buffet. I'm not necessarily talking about size, though. A classroom with little resources is small, and a classroom with lots of resources is large, just like a buffet. Would you rather go to a buffet with lots of options or just a few? The same goes for a classroom. So in a buffet, there are things you might pick up to try and end up hating them. In a classroom, this happens too. A learner might try to learn something a certain way, and it might just not work out. That's when the learner, with the help of the teacher, tries something different. There's nothing wrong with trying new things, but sometimes they just don't work in our favor. It's actually good to try new things oftentimes, though, because then you figure out what works and what doesn't work. There are options in a buffet that you might pick out because you know it and you know you love it. This same thing happens in a classroom too. Learners know what works for them, and the teacher knows it too. Therefore, the teacher chooses learning activities that appeal to that learner's learning style. It's good to stick to the things that the learner knows so that his or her confidence is continually built up, and there's constant success. But it's good to change things up and challenge the learner because otherwise there won't be much improvement. Just like in a buffet, it's good to try new things every once in a while because you never know. You might just improve your variety of foods. That brings me to my next point. I'm sure all of you have picked out something in a buffet that you know you've never tried before but decide to put it on your plate anyway. You go back to your table, try out the new choice, and end up loving it. This happens in the classroom too. A learner might try out a new way to learn something that's totally different from what he or she is used to and finds out that it yields success. This learner then has a variety of ways that he or she can learn things, which will definitely come in handy. Now let's get back to the people that are in the buffet line with you. The first type of person I mentioned was Mr. Pushy. He relentlessly tries to move you along too fast and causes you to miss some of the buffet options that you really wanted to spoon onto your plate. Mr. Pushy represents the teacher who pushes students along too quickly and causes them to miss some important information because they learn a little more slowly than the rest of the class. In every classroom, there will be students who learn slower than the rest of the class and need extra guidance and instruction in order to pick up everything that the rest of the class is picking up. The second type of person I mentioned is the guy or gal that cuts in front of you. Imagine you're the learner and you take a little extra time to really grasp a concept or complete an activity. Then another classmate just cuts right in front of you, all because he or she is quick and not challenged by the concept or activity at all. How does that make you feel? Probably pretty down in the dumps, right? Lots of students feel this way in every classroom. It's the responsibility of the teacher to challenge every student appropriately in order to create success for each and every student. The last type of person I mentioned is the people that take really, really long to decide what they want from the multiple buffet options. These types of people represent the slow learners in a classroom. These types of learners need extra guidance and extra motivation from the teacher in order to progress and succeed in the classroom. So imagine If you could create your own buffet with all your own choice options, it would be heaven, right? A classroom works the same way. If a learner could personalize the classroom to fit his or her own needs, that learner would be in learning heaven, and the possibilities would be endless because everything would be tailored to that learner. So the moral of my metaphor here is that the chef that cooks up many options so you can appeal to various types of hungry learners. Thanks for listening.